Are live
Okay.
on Facebook and YouTube.
Okay, I'm going to stream into my audiences now. Oops, I got to do this part. It's the awkward part. Kat and Dan talking real estate and lending. Am I echoing? I feel like I'm echoing. Am I still on my phone? No.
Nope.
Okay. Go. I am echoing. I sure hope that stops when I go live. Okay, I'm going to go live. I am echoing. What is happening?
Don't know.
I'm going to go live on TikTok. Hi, guys. Hi, TikTok. Kat Howard here with Windermere Real Estate in Woodinville, Washington. And I am echoing. Why is that? What is going on? Edit audio. I don't understand why I'm echoing. I hope it doesn't sound like this. I mean, I literally hear myself right after I talk. Are you hearing
there is. Oh yeah, I hear quite a bit of feedback there. A little distortion.
I wonder what's happening. Because I'm not on the phone, right? Huh. It shouldn't. Maybe it's because I have my phone plugged into my computer. Is that better? No. Shoot.
Well, let's just go with what we got. How's that sound?
Wing it. Okay. Well, we're going, guys. Going to talk all things real estate. Hot off the presses. That's not distracting at all. Can you guys hear me echo? Am I echoing? You hear me?
Nana? Yes, yeah, I hear some echo.
Michael, right? Should I start over?
Well, we can if you want.
Let me come back on. I'm going to stay on TikTok. Let me sign on. Let me leave the studio. Should I come in through a different link? I think we're on twice is what I think is happening.
Oh, you know what? I think you are on twice. Hang on. Let's see if we can do this here.
I think we should be able to shut one of them off.
Hang on. I'm kicking you off here.
Oh,
I had two. Okay, there we go. All right. I will say this. It's been a very hot week out on this. We're going to talk about this later, but boy, has it ever been hot. And there's Kat coming back on.
I think I'm still live streaming. Am I? I think I am.
Yep, we're still live streaming.
Okay. All right. Hey, by the way, you guys, here he is. This is the man of the hour. This is Mr. Fat Tuesday, MFT for those in the know. That's right. He's got his own acronym. He's my real estate sidekick, and he's just all of that. He's every bit a good boy. He's a 2-year-old having his born on Fat Tuesday 2 years ago. So he's 2 years old now. Anyway, okay. We're going into this thing hot off the presses, right, Dan? So
yes.
We're joined by Dan Mellis with Nexa Mortgage. He's my go-to lender. Right now, he's got all the best rates for my clients.
Well, the rates, they hopefully they'll get better going forward. I think they will. We'll see.
Yeah.
I think so. I think we have a shot.
Eventually. I have such mixed feelings about interest rates right now, because the minute they start to come down, the market is already batshit crazy in Western Washington. I mean, off the charts, batshit bananas. We got people, buyers, paying up to 39% over list price in King County, folks. Batshit crazy. Did you hear that, Dan?
Bless you. Yes, I did.
So that's pretty wild.
It's it's not just rumors. It's
Yeah.
And what I mean, because you're out making some calls, talking to realtors, getting word on the street. We'll go into that in just a little bit as we go through this. I was at open houses this week. Everything's confirming the exact same thing. It's all confirming the numbers that we're seeing that are coming in, and it's just a really tight market without enough inventory coming online. I think that's my conclusion.
Not enough inventory. And what inventory we do have is partially being chewed up. Interest rates ticking up kind of took a little bit of the edge off, but I got not enough for buyers to notice.
Right.
I mean, we had of the sold listings for the last 30 days, we have 41% we had 41% of buyers that paid over asking price for a home. So Snohomish County. In King County, we had 39% of buyers paying over asking price for a home in King County. And that's for the solds for the last 0 to 30 days. So that data is 30 days old, 30 to 60 days old, because obviously the negotiations that happened were about 30 to 60 days ago. So that's reflective of December and early January. All bets are off now. So, we've already started off the year with some pretty wild numbers. I mean, we've got, what do we have? We got, let's see, King County, we have 20% of buyers paid 5% or more over a list price the last 30 days. 20% of buyers paying 5% or more over list price. So 5% looks like, on a $1 million house, that's $50,000 over, right?
Yep. And that was December and early January numbers.
And that data goes back because it's the close from the last 0 to 30 days. So that those would be negotiations from 30 to 60 days ago, assuming we've got normal 30-day closes, right? Not that we can really make any normal assumptions about this market, but I think typically most transactions close within 3 to 5 weeks. And in Western Washington, that's a pretty average time frame.
Well, and I'm just running some quick numbers, but let's see here. That one came in as 50,000 over 600. So the last 2 open houses that I've been out there at, down in Kent, they've been going for, one was going for 10% over ask, and the other one went for 12% over ask for the last 2 weeks. Yep.
How many offers did they end up with this last weekend, Dan?
Enough offers to move the offer review date from Monday to Sunday night.
Wow.
Yeah, I think they got the winning offer pretty early in the process and figured, well, let's just move it back to Sunday, because that's what they did. And so, and if they get a better offer between now and and Sunday, I'm sure they would take the better offer. But that to me was a tell that it's a very tight. Not like all these other numbers that we're talking about is not a tell. Of course it is, but it's all consistent with what, everything is consistent. What we're seeing firsthand experience in the market, talking to other realtors that you're talking to, looking at the numbers that are coming off the NMLS, they all paint the exact same picture.
So should we go into word on the street, Dan?
Let's go into word on the street, because that's interesting. The folks that you've been talking to, your intel.
This is my intel. So
this is your intel, yes.
So we have a section called Stats by Cat, and that's where we go into this county specific data. for the different counties in Western Washington that I follow, are my pet counties. And then we are starting another segment called Word on the Street. And essentially that is a behind the scenes look at negotiations in Western Washington. So I call up various agents, talk to different agents in my office or other agents I know, and find out exactly what is happening behind the scenes, so we have a really good picture of what is going on in the Western Washington market, real live and up to the last minute, including today. So I'm going to talk about today and yesterday's negotiations in Western Washington. So one of them was, I don't want to give out specific locations because these transactions are not closed and I don't want people trying to guess which ones they are. So let's just say one of them is located between South King County and South Snohomish County and North King County, in that area. And it was listed in the mid 1 millions. And they ended up with, get this folks, 11 offers. They ended up with 2 cash offers and $300,000 over asking price. So there were some unique features about this home that made it particularly desirable. I don't want to get into those either, but it was a very nice home. But that was about 20% over asking price, right? Is where we ended up on that one, and 11 offers, right? So, and they did an offer review on Sunday, which is, we normally don't do those on Sunday around here. We try to wait until Monday, Tuesday to get the most interest. But in this case, they really didn't need to wait. They already had 2 cash offers.
How many offers did they have altogether?
11 altogether, and with several of them cash. And you got to think between 1 and 2 million. That's a price range where it's a lot of cash. So anyway, and there was another situation where, let's see, what did the gal say? I think she said they had, and this was kind of Linwood, Edmonds, kind of over there, South Snohomish County over there on that side, North King. And I believe the house was listed for around $750,000, and they ended up with 5 offers, and it went 50 over.
Wow.
But they were financed. They were all financed. So they all apples to apples, essentially. And anyway, so
that's the market right now. I mean, that's basically the same.
I think she said 10% over is what she said.
That is
10% over. So that would actually, yeah. So
the market that I'm seeing down in Kent is the same market that you just described up in
South Snohomish, North King. And so then I called another agent, and this one had not set an offer review date, you guys. And again, kind of listed over in North Seattle kind of area, just a smaller older home. And they were listed, in the 650, 750-ish price range. And they did not set an offer review date, and they withheld setting an offer review date till the end of the weekend. And they only ended up with 3 offers, but they still went 20 over.
Well, that goes back to your thing where you're saying it only takes one extra offer to really bump things up, right?
Right. And listen, in every single case, you guys, so for you sellers out there, every single one of these sellers provided a seller procured inspection report. Why is that important? Because a buyer doesn't have to have their inspector crawl through your house before they're comfortable making an offer. 1, it saves them time. 2, it saves them money. So, and risking the money it costs to do, to have an inspection. Mr. Fat Tuesday, you are causing all kinds of a ruckus back here. This is what he does to Tupperware. That's right. He chews it. Mm-hmm. Now, let's just put you on the floor for a minute. Otherwise, I got to put your Tupperware on the floor. Little buddy. Little Havanese. I'm bonking my head on my chandelier over here. Anyway, so I thought I'd make a few phone calls this morning to see how the weekend had fared. Lots and lots of activity for the homes that are a little less desirable, less activity. for the homes that really are truly the shiny object, like that house that was listed in the mid 1 millions, that was a shiny object, very well prepared for market, in amazing condition, and it looked like a peach. And then and the other one was very well prepared for market as well. So the older one had some inherent challenges just due to the age. So
Right.
we still got 3 offers. Kid. And to be fair, that seller did not want to set an offer review date. When they purchased their home a few years ago, they had to compete to buy it. And they don't like that process. They don't like the process for the seller or for the buyer. It benefits them, obviously, which is why in the end they decided to change their minds. So this takes me to that next topic where I like to talk a little bit about, if a seller is nervous, because we only have 50, 51, 53% of sellers setting offer review dates right now. And I think the reason for that is I think we all have PTSD from the last couple of years, right? Not as much last year as the year before, 2022, 2021. But, where buyers were, scrambling 20, 30 offers, at a time. And, doing a bully offer meant coming in 17 to 22% over asking price before any other offers showed up on the table. So that would be a bully offer, right? So I think one way that a seller could take the temperature of the market, if they still think they might want to try to get multiple offers, is you can go ahead, put your house on the market, that you're going to review offers as upon receipt, and then have an open house early Saturday, right? Just
Right.
see what the activity is like. If the activity is pretty darn good and you've got agents asking questions like their buyers are thinking about writing an offer, and you've completed a seller procured inspection and a sewer scope, then at that point, if you've got pretty good activity, I probably would suggest you go ahead and set that offer review date for the following Sunday or Monday or Tuesday. And then you just let all the agents that have been through there or have scheduled showings that's exactly what you're going to do. So that's a fair way to implement that and still negotiate, navigate a multiple offer situation or create that for your seller. So I like to bring that up because I think that there's a lot of trepidation in the market among sellers about setting an offer review date. I can see it in the numbers. I mean, Pierce County is really nervous. I mean, what are they at? I mean, offer review dates are just down this year. I mean, Pierce County is at 22% of sellers setting offer review dates, and they've got a decent market. I mean, you got 50% of them getting under contract within the first 7 days. So there's really no reason that about half of them shouldn't be doing that. But anyway, I haven't really started going into the statistics yet, but I just thought it was interesting to note that the offer review dates in Mason and Skagit haven't even really started yet. And Skagit, they've got 56% of sellers getting under contract within the first 7 days on the market. And so to me, again, that column with the the offer review dates, the ORDs, offer review dates, like MFT for Mr. Fat Tuesday, ORDs for offer review dates. You gotta love our acronyms. So anyway, so I just thought I'd mention that really quick, Dan.
No, it all paints sort of a mosaic of the same of the market. It's a very tight market, not enough inventory. I think that's as clear as you can get. And the difficulty with an inventory issue is it's tough to bring a lot of inventory onto the market all at once, right? It's going to take time to resolve all this.
Not in the spring. Doesn't happen in the spring.
Doesn't happen in the spring. That's right. No. So I think that's that's going to be a persistent theme, I think, as we go forward here between now and the summer.
And so I think, Dan, what you can expect as a buyer when you go out there to make an offer is, I think if the seller is the shiny object, and sellers, who you are, and buyers, what I'm talking about, it's the quartz countertops, the modern hardwood laminate flooring, the seller has fresh paint or it doesn't need painting on the inside or the outside, clean windows, they're staged, the roof's clean, the gutters are clean. They've done all the things, and the house doesn't really need anything right away. So it's move-in ready. We like to call that turnkey. If it's all those things, that means it's absolutely the shiny object. And those shiny objects in this market in King and Snohomish counties are going to go for 10 to 20% or more over asking price. Like I said, in King County, we've got sales prices going up to 39% over, and that's 30-day-old data. So in Snohomish County, we're into the 20 percentiles going over asking price for a very small percentage of properties. But I will guarantee you that's a lot higher now. I would guesstimate you've got probably 25 to 30% of properties in South Snohomish County that are going over asking price by 5 to 10% at least. And everybody else is higher than that, So,
well, it does make it difficult for the buyers coming in, because you've got to have, if you really want to go after that your dream house, so to speak, you have to have a lot of cash ready to go, right? And be prepared to bid over asking price. These are not enjoyable topics, but it's the cost of getting into the house these days, right?
We call that, the fee to buy into the market is what I've kind of coined it. And you kind of have to swallow that pill if you're going to go out and look for a house right now.
Mm-hmm.
It's painful because we don't have the 3.5% interest rates anymore. We're sitting at more like 7, right? Some of us are able to get maybe 6.25, 6.5 for an FHA or something. But overall, the rates have more than doubled than where they were in early 2022. And so it's a very painful experience to now go back out there on the market 2 years later and be looking at the same dynamic, the same real estate market dynamic. It's actually terrifying because, our market is still maybe slightly lower than where it was, at the peak of the market in 2022 in April, May, but it's not far behind. We're practically all the way back up there. So it's, King County came back a lot farther in 2022, the last half of 2022, than Snohomish County did. Snohomish County came back at that last half of 2022. They came back about 25%. King County was a little more violent than that. I don't know if I should be using that word or not, but it was dramatic. They had a dramatic pullback the market, and they also had gone up much more dramatically over the previous year. So, and that spring, people were paying 1.3, 1.4 for homes that had been selling for 900 in Bellevue. Not that you could find a house for 900 anymore in Bellevue, but and so there was some crazy stuff going on in South Snohomish County. We were overpaying 120 to 180, depending on your price point, 800 to $1 million,
But, the thing is, all of the buying tips and the selling tips, but all the buying tips that you've been talking about for months and months and months, they're all coming to the fore right now. And folks having to get pre-underwritten ahead of time. You've been talking about this for months and months, right?
Yep. I'm trying to prep buyers because I saw the storm coming. Inventory. Well, let's face it. The height of the inventory was in October, November. That was the height of the inventory. It started getting chewed up, you guys, in November, December. By the time we got to January, we had no shot at a balanced market. We didn't have a shot at a balanced market in December. Our inventory numbers started coming down very quickly in November, December, January. Yep. Very quickly. And in a lot of counties, they're still coming down, and they're at such a low level right now. It's hard to imagine them getting much lower.
Yeah.
A lot of them. 0.6 is low.
Super low. Super low, right? Especially
King County is 0.7.
0.7. Wow.
They're almost down there with Snohomish now.
Yeah, let's see here. Let's bring those stats back up on the screen.
Okay, should we hit the stats by cat section now?
Here we go. Okay, so I got the stats on the screen here. So There we go.
Okay. Dan, you're funny. I can't read that.
You can't read it? Oh.
No, I can't read it. It's too far away. Okay.
Oh.
King County. 0.7 months supply of inventory. 725 new listings are not new listings. 725 listings currently on the market, and that has ticked up a tad. 52% of sellers in King County set offer review dates. 68% of sellers got under contract within the first 7 days on the market if they listed between January 4th and if they listed between February 4th and February 10th. And 73% of sellers in King County got under contract within the first 14 days on the market if they listed between January 21st and February 3rd. So really big numbers, strong numbers for King County. King County is killing it out there.
Yeah.
I got to turn my heat off because I'm getting hot.
And Snohomish is right there too. Look at
Yeah,
Snohomish.
Snohomish is it's been number one for a while. Man, I start to do these lives and I start sweating. All right.
Okay.
I'm back, guys. Hi.
You know what I need to get for these live streams?
What?
I need to get one of those foam #1 fingers. You know, the big ones that they put on at the football games and all that stuff.
Yes,
I should
you
do
can
that.
raise it up and
So I could go, we're #1 for Snohomish County or King County. Whatever. Anyway, go ahead. Never mind.
Hi guys, hi TikTokers. Hey, by the way, you guys, I can see my screen now. So I used to film and not be able to see my screen, but I can see my screen now. So you guys can shoot me questions. So
Oh, that's good.
that.
So you can see from TikTok on the screen, huh?
I can, yes, because I have my phone in front of my laptop now, so I can see my peeps coming on.
Good idea.
Hi, Mike. Hi, Jim.
You've got quite a following there on TikTok.
I have a few, not that many.
You've got quite a tribe. Yes, you do.
I'm attracting my tribe, I hope.
Yes.
Yes. So Snohomish County, 0.6 months supply of inventory. 256 listings currently on the market. 53 Mister. 53 Mister. 53% of 53%.
He's talking over you.
He is talking over me. I mean, I can't hear myself. 53% of sellers set offer review dates in Snohomish County over the last 7 days on the market. We got 71% of sellers got under contract within the first 7. Mister, oh my God, do you need to go outside?
Baby, he sees a squirrel.
He's probably got himself a squirrel. Sorry, you guys. My little dog is barking. Stop. Mr. Fat Tuesday. Somebody's going to think I got a barker over here. Anyway, so the big number, you guys, this week is 71% of sellers in Snohomish County went under contract within the first 7 days on the market if they listed between February 4th and February 10th. So that's kind of a big number. 76% of sellers in Snohomish County got under contract within the first 14 days on the market if they listed between January 21st and February 3rd. So Snohomish County, really powerful numbers for sellers.
This is combined Snohomish and King. Well, and then let's throw Pierce County in there too, which you're getting to. Boy, that is just a heck of a strong market in total.
These are numbers that beat last year, the whole entire year last year. We never had a market like this.
Wow. So we're beating last year's April-May numbers in February.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Sorry, I'll let you keep going. Sorry to interrupt.
Snohomish and King. So I gotta open the door. Dan, I don't know what's happening. I'm getting hot. Holy cow. Let me open my It's not like it's not hot in here. I just think I don't know. Here, I'll put a jacket on and I'll open a door. Mister, oh, he likes the door open. I open the top of my Dutch door. Little buddy. All right. Yeah, Mr. Fat Tuesday. You're all that. All right.
We'll need to get you a cat so you have somebody to rule the house.
Oh my God, right? Okay, Pierce County, you guys. Pierce County, 0.95 month supply of inventory. 629 homes on the market currently, and that's ticking up. 22% of sellers in Pierce County set offer review dates. 50% of sellers got under contract within the first 7 days if they listed their homes from January 4th to January 10th. And 57% of sellers got under contract within the first 14 days if they listed their home between January 21st and February 3rd. Pierce County. How you doing, Dan?
I'm doing pretty good. How are you, Kat?
Good. You got a topic?
I do have a topic. Did you want to get to Mason, Skagit, or Kitsap?
I'm gonna pick that up in just a minute.
Oh, okay. You want me to take a look at it?
Take it.
Take it away, Dan.
Take it away, Dan. You're on.
Well, let's take a look at something that. Hang on here. Let me make a quick. Hang on here. We are going to take a look at something I found very, very interesting. Hang on. Okay. Zoom out so everyone can see. All right. So if we're looking at the 10-year treasuries, let me real quick. Let's go over a 5-year chart. There we go. And
you putting your 5-year chart up, Dan?
I'm putting my 5-year chart up because it's okay. So let's share the screen. Sharing the screen is best.
Yawning on screen.
Well, it's just interesting to see. Can you see it by chance?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So
trend lines.
Okay. So this is a chart of the 10-year note, and mortgage rates basically are tied to the 10-year note. It's not a perfect correlation, but I always like to say they're tethered, right? You get one to move in the other direction, the other move in the same direction, maybe a little higher, a little lower, but they'll both move in the same directions for the most part. And what's interesting to see is if you go back to the COVID years when we had interest rates at awfully close to 0%, or at a 0.5%, something along those lines. And you can see that's where the excess was. Since then, you can kind of see that the rise that you've got from 0.5% up to 5% that we saw back here at the end of October. Now we've seen a sort of a counter trend, a move back down in rates. And it does look like if you zoom in, you can kind of see. Let me zoom in a bit here. Go from a 5-year chart to, let's just say, 6 months. So you can kind of see how things are moving. So you can see the peak that we have back here in October, and then you've had a sort of a 3-step move to higher rates. We're at 4.29% right now. And if you fill in just a regular, what they call a Fibonacci retracement, that was sort of targeted in this 4.4% range, basically. And it could actually be a little bit lower, that we pretty much have fulfilled the lower end estimates of where we're going to go to right now already. But the market, who knows if the market's going to continue to go a little higher. If you take a look at that little squiggle up at the top, the RSI that I'm pointing out up here at the top, maybe there's a little bit more room to run for higher rates, but probably not a lot higher. So you can look at that, I guess, as good news or bad news. Because if you're here, I'll stop sharing here. Because if you are expecting rates to come back down, which I am at some point reasonably soon, it is going to make for a difficult market because you're going to have more buyers coming out on the market, and you could already see that the inventory that we've got right now is not sufficient to meet current demand, much less additional demand coming from lower interest rates, right? So I think that's one of the frustrations that you might end up seeing, and I think the odds are pretty good that you end up seeing that going forward this year. Now, having said that, if you've got a sharp eye for real estate, and let's say you're a flipper, for example, you buy these houses, you buy some houses, do some fixes on the house, and then resell it. This is, in my opinion, the ultimate scenario for flippers if you can find the properties, because it becomes it's like shooting fish in a barrel, right? I mean,
it would have been best to pick up the property in the fall.
It would have been, but it is what it is right now, and you're stuck with, you're going to have, basically it's a difference of, here's the way I would look at it from a stock market standpoint. Okay. Sort of a momentum play. You always want to buy low and sell high, which would be buy low in the fall and sell high, in April, May, June. Right. So I mean, that's what you'd like to be, but reality is we're here in February. And the thing is, another strategy you have in the stock market is to buy higher or to buy high and sell higher. And I think that's kind of where we're at right now in the real estate market, right?
Yeah.
You're gonna have to buy high. There's a little more risk to it, but I do think the risk is somewhat mitigated because you won't see the total demand come out until we see lower interest rates. And if we do see lower interest rates, you're gonna see more demand. Yeah. And the question is not going to be whether you sell a flip unless you kind of screw it up. The question is going to be how much profit you make, not whether you're going to make a profit. So, right. And so a lot of this might be overgeneralizing, but I do think it's a very attractive market because you're not going to have to worry about the anxiety of having a fixed property sitting on the market for any extended period of time, right? Where you have a lot of anxiety, wondering, is it gonna sell? Yes or no? It's probably gonna sell coming out of the chute as long as you do everything properly, as far as listing the property, fixing it up, things like that.
Buddy, my doggy was getting in the garbage, Dan.
He was far too quiet for too long.
Way too quiet. So I turned off my live on my TikTok because I need to go get a calorie.
Oh, okay.
I'm having a little blood sugar.
Oh, okay. No problem. Go ahead.
Can we pause it for a minute or something?
Yeah. I'll just I'll kind of tap dance for a little bit.
Okay. I'm gonna turn myself off and then I'll come back on.
Okay.
Okay. Let's see. Leave studio. Here we go. All right. I'll come back in.
Okay. Well, what are we going to talk about? I do think, it's pretty obvious that we are looking at a very tight market. And let's go over to share a couple things because I do want to, since I have a little more freedom here to roam, let's go over to Mortgage Daily News. See if I can find this because this is some pretty interesting stuff as well. Let's see if I can get on there. And there we go. Go over to housing data. And let's take a look at mortgage. The reason I want to go over here is to show you what mortgage applications are looking like. And let's look at the purchase data we'll go over here, share the screen. And take a look. Now, this goes back 10 years, right? And what you can see is we had a pretty good sized peak in mortgage application. This is the purchase index. Now, there are three applications available, or three mortgage indexes to compare. This is the purchase index. So they have it broken down by purchase index, refinance index, and total index, the combination of the two. And quite honestly, the refi business is dead and it's not worth looking at. But the purchase market is much more applicable to look at. And you can kind of see, first off, a couple things to note. The orange line is your interest rate line, right? And so what you can kind of see is right here, as we peak in interest rates, we have a bottom in mortgage applications. That's fairly intuitive. And as we were up around, we got on just, where is that here? We got just around 7.8% back in October. And you could see the purchase index bottomed at like 127, 125, right in that range. That was at the end of October, October 30th. And as rates came down, you had roughly a move from 127 up to 174. So let's do a little quick 127 to 174. That's a pretty good rise on a percentage basis. That's a 37% rise in mortgage applications. Very much direct. There were two things involved. One, but primarily is because lower interest rates. Rates came down about a percentage point during that period of time, and we saw a 37% rise in the purchase index for mortgage applications. Now, let's go back and see if Kat is back. Nope, she's still not. Okay, so take a look at. There we go. So if we take a look at the purchase applications, you've seen a 37% rise in applications. And now with interest rates pretty much flattening out here for a little bit, we have seen a decline going from early January up at 174.3, and we've pulled back recently into this, what are we at here? 140, what's this here? 149.6. Let's do some quick math here. Can I do this in my head? I'm feeling mentally inadequate today. Anyway, so we have a 15% pullback in mortgage applications from the peak, which makes sense because we've seen a little bit of a rise in interest rates. And that's probably towards the end of that run at this point. There's not much left in terms of the rise in interest rates. So that would be my best estimate. So basically, we're looking like we're going to see we're probably going to see another 40 to 45% increase, and I'm increasing it over the number that we saw previously because it's we're going into the strong buying season. So if you take the 37% that we already have seen as far as increases are concerned, and then tag on the seasonal factor that we are in the buying season, you're probably, we're getting a lot of buyers coming back on the market. You're going to see probably another 50% increase in mortgage applications. That would be 50%, I think, is probably pretty conservative. So what would that put us? If we're 149.6, call it 150, that would take you back to about the 225 level on the charts, which would pretty much take you back to January of 2023, January, February, maybe a little more, maybe more towards June of 2022. It's probably a pretty good target right now. That we do see something coming back into that range, the June of 22 range. And it's interesting because what that kind of corroborates what the other realtors have been saying, that it reminds them, of the 2022 period. So again, we're projecting at this point. It's speculation, but it's informed speculation, and there's a lot of evidence that we very well could see a big influx of buyers coming in, and or at least a significant increase in buyers. I don't want to oversell it, but to me, it looks like it's going to be a very busy, hectic buying season between now and there's Kat.
I made it back.
And there's Kat.
Whoops, I gotta
go
live on TikTok here. Here we go. Go live.
Okay, so I will take you back to what I was kind of talking about real quick, just to get you caught up. All right. So let's go over here. So we're looking at mortgage applications, and what I'm saying is, okay, from the peak in interest rates at the end of October to the recent lows that we had in January, with excuse me, the recent lows we really had at the end of December, and it got reflected in the January data, right? We had we had like in purchase applications, mortgage applications, we had a 37% increase of purchase applications. We've had a pullback of about 15% since then into the early February period. February 12th is the latest reporting period. But my estimates is we're not only going to get another, let's just say 37% increase in mortgage applications, because that was during the slow season, right? I mean, that was at the end of December, end of October into the end of December, when we had this rise in mortgage applications. What I'm saying is we will probably match that increase and probably get you up another 15, 20, 25% above that, which would take you kind of into the June 2022 period in terms of mortgage applications. And it's interesting because the your sources on the ground, the realtors that you're talking to, that was exactly what they were comparing it to. We're back in 2022, and I think the numbers are going to match that.
Yes. Yep. And I think the bidding wars are similar. I think there's more hesitation on the part of the sellers to set offer review dates for fear of driving away potential buyers. There's going to be some buyers that will not compete. I was talking to an agent. In my office just the other day, and she's got buyers that are not interested in competing.
Yeah.
And she's, her theory is that, hey, if we all push back, it'll stop happening. And you would have to have collective reasoning among all buyers to make that happen. And she was listening to one of my videos the other day where I talk about the new norm. And the new norm is, you guys, that buyers are willing to pay more than the next guy to get a home that they want. And they're not as worried about overpaying. They're willing to pay that fee, right? That buy-in fee to get the home they want the time they need it. And I don't know that's a bad thing. It just feels a bit like the Wild West.
Yep.
And I think as we've done this longer and longer, and we've had more experience with handling the multiple offer situations, I think we're getting better at it. I think right out the gate, it was very nerve-wracking for all of us involved, whether you were representing a buyer or you were representing a seller. to navigate these multiple offer situations. I don't like participating in them as a buyer's agent. It's horribly uncomfortable. Any day I'd rather write a bully offer and actually try to get the house rather than compete with 10 or 12 other buyers and somebody out there could be cash and I got no shot. So it's very disheartening. Thanks for the hearts, you guys. It's very disheartening to try to work for a buyer or for a buyer, really. I mean, you just feel bad for your buyer. I mean, I could write 20 offers and, the only sweat off my back is sitting in front of my computer writing the offers, but my buyers get emotionally involved, right? And so for them, it's a devastating experience. And I've seen so many of them, man, get up the next morning and get back on that horse and go look at another one and write another offer. So some buyers get really good at saying, let's go find another one, Kat. And I'm happy when they can do that. Sometimes the first house or two kind of kicks them in the gut and they go, that I know you said it could happen, Kat, but wasn't really thinking that was going to happen to us. And it takes sometimes losing a few times and then hearing what the winning offer was and how many other offers there were before people actually finally get the idea. Listen, I'm not going to win in this competition with just the tools I've got right now. We have to get different tools. And so one of those tools you can utilize is being fully underwritten. And unfortunately, more people are finding out about that.
Yep.
So we wind up competing sometimes now against other people that are fully underwritten, but it still is your best weapon if you don't have cash. And not your fault if you don't have cash. You're not supposed to have cash to buy a house.
Let me throw out one more idea, and we're just throwing ideas out right now, right? So, I mean, it's a tough market.
It is.
How do you navigate a difficult market? So, cash is obviously king.
Yeah.
Fully underwritten would be your next best, right? I mean, that was, and then you get into the area where most people are, which is pre-approved, not fully underwritten, and without enough cash to really make a difference to the offer, right?
Right.
And the one area that I think is going to become more relevant going through, just because there's not much inventory, are the fixer-uppers, the houses that need some tender, loving care, and maybe need to have like you got to go through a rehab process, a rehab loan, stuff like that. Yeah. I'm not trying to pimp my own products out or anything like that, just, push my own stuff out there. But we do a very good job with those products. And it does come to mind because you're just running out of prime inventory. And if you're going onto the market, the one thing that's interesting is looking at the average days to sell, right? So the super high percentage are getting sold in the first 2 weeks, right? But there are a few clunkers out there that are dragging down the median age and the average age to sell. There are some clunkers out there.
The average days on market and median days on market are being drug down somewhat by some of the older listings that have, that have been on the market for 4 months, to be fair.
That's right.
They started too high or they just weren't in sellable condition. And so it took them a lot longer to get under contract. And, and to be fair, you guys, this is the market right now where what kind of homes do we have coming on the market? We have homes coming on the market from people that are relocating across the United States for jobs, right?
Yes.
And then the other thing we have, guess what? The only other thing is we have out there. We have people that are selling their parents' home or estate sales, right? So we've got mom and dad in assisted living now, and so now we've got a house that we need to sell so that we can help mom and dad pay for the assisted living situation. Or we've got an estate sale where mom and dad has passed away and we just need to get rid of the house. In either one of those cases, the sellers are not getting the homes ready for the market normally like they should be.
So
in my estimation, and you're leaving money on the table when you don't get them ready for market, because I've run the numbers. If you spend $25,000, $35,000 to get your average home ready for the market, getting windows cleaned, replacing carpet, right? Painting the interior, maybe painting the exterior, doing some basic landscaping just to spruce it up and get some fresh bark in there and getting it completely cleaned. I'm not talking about remodeling. I'm not saying put in quartz countertops. Not talking about doing that. Just blowing the whole interior out white. Now, I'm not doing this to a $1.5 million house, okay? But if it's, in our area, if it's under $1 million or under 800,000, it's a very reasonable way to get a home prepared for the market without spending a whole lot of cash. And I've done this over and over again. It's a great formula. Chantilly lace, Benjamin Moore, my favorite. You put it on everything: ceilings, walls, window trim, the dated skinny trim from the 1960s. You put it on the flat panel doors. Everything comes out looking clean and bright and updated. You switch out the switches and the outlets to white, and maybe add a couple of light fixtures to modernize the dining room and entryway, and that can make all the difference in the world. And you can probably net your parents another $50,000, $60,000, $70,000. So you spend $25,000, $30,000, $35,000 out of pocket, but you're going to get much more than that in return. So, and I'm talking about on top of making up for, right? So your difference in price is probably close to 100, 75 to 100.
That's a huge deal.
Well, it's the difference between being ready for the market and not being prepared for the market.
And the flip side to all that stuff, let me take it from a buyer's perspective, right? The other side of that coin is if I'm looking for a house that I'm trying to get into reasonably that might have a little bit of upside left, that you're not paying the last penny for the house, like if you're buying something $100,000 over ask. And you're looking at one of these houses that maybe is an estate sale house or something along those lines.
Yep.
And a lot of times, the kids that are, kind of managing things, they just want to get rid of the property, right? I mean,
they don't want to put any money into it. They don't want to be bothered with it. They're not getting the money from the sale. It's going to assist mom and dad, and a lot of times the kids have been after the parents to, please, mom, get rid of your stuff, for years and years, and kids have been after, and so sometimes the kids are a little bitter, justifiably so, so it's it winds up being kind of a hard situation for all parties involved, and so I understand it. It's just, it makes me sad because I feel like mom and dad could get an extra $50,000, $60,000 profit out of that house if it was properly prepared for market. And as a local realtor, I'm willing to meet the service providers, get the bids, do all the work that it takes to get to that point, as long as the kids say, yeah, no, let's do that. So, I'll absorb the time.
Right. And so if you had a buyer come to you and say, hey, Kat, what you described to me is exactly what we want to do. Can you keep an eye on things for them? Can you keep an eye on like houses that haven't sold super fast, that are maybe over 30 days old, might be a little bit, but the different things that are kind of dragging down the month's supply of inventory. Do you have the ability to kind of keep an eye on things for folks that are looking to purchase at a more reasonable price, possibly?
Well, that's something you would probably, unfortunately, there's not very many, right? You start to get to this point in the market, and Skagit County, Mason County, Kitsap, and Pierce, there's still an opportunity to really kind of take a look at those that have been on the market too long. There's not very many of those left in Snohomish and King counties because so many of the new listings are getting snapped up so quickly.
Right.
And the inventory is overall so low. There's not very many of those, but it's still a way to look at homes where you're not likely to have to compete. So if that's the situation, I will say that, even estate sales and homes that are not properly prepared for market, there's still a good chance that they will sell if they've been priced accordingly during that first 7 days. And because we have such a large percentage, we've got 71%, right, in Snohomish. 71% of homes that hit the market are sold within the first 7 days. And so there's going to be some estate sales in there. And no, they're not going to go $100,000, $200,000 over market. But but they can still sell, and they can still sell with multiple offers.
Yeah.
So
And you know what I'm laughing?
priced,
You know,
right? Why are you laughing, Dan?
you know
Come
why
on.
I'm laughing? As we're talking about this stuff, I'm thinking back to an interview I did here. I don't know, it's maybe 2 or 3 months ago, right? Doing an interview with one of my lenders, and a fantastic lender. They do fix and flip properties and new construction, hard money stuff. And she was telling the story of one time she goes into a house and it was just an overwhelming smell of rat urine, right? Rat piss, as she called it. It's just overwhelming. And she said, and she goes in with the borrowers, and they're looking at the house, and she says, "I smell money. That's the smell of money."
Smell of money. Yep. Where do
But
I know what that looks like?
Yes, but the thing is, you do have to. The reason I mention that is you kind of have to think outside the box, and you have to think like that, where normally you'd see a house maybe that is beat up, that a hoarder was in it, and they still have boxes and boxes of newspapers that they've stored in their garage from 1971 or something like that. I don't know. Stuff happens, right? In the real estate market, and you see all things of with some of the houses that you sell, but it's times like these where you gotta have an open mind if you're looking to buy in the tough market, and think kind of visualize what can you do with this property, instead of immediately saying no, that's off limits, because you got to be a little more flexible these days, right?
Well, and it depends on the skill level of the buyer, right? Because most buyers don't have a lot of money. And that's where flippers come in, and we'll pick up. Unfortunately, these estate sale homes, if they're livable and a buyer can move into them without absolutely having to do something to it, then those can get a little more money in this type of a market than they would normally, just because they're in a good neighborhood, they've got good bones. But if there's obvious things that need repair immediately, like got one coming on the market not too long from now, it needs paint, on the outside, and it needs it badly.
Is this the one down Puyallup or another one?
No, it's a different one.
Different one.
Yeah. And it's great. It's cool. It's a Rambler. It's gonna be a nice one. It just isn't gonna look very nice. It's going to be a dated 1990s, laminate countertops. I think the kitchen countertops are pink, because it was a thing back. Remember the late 80s? Remember the pink carpets, guys? Oh my gosh. And the pink walls. Holy cow. Anyway.
You know what that was due to? I'm telling you, it was a leftover from the Miami Vice era a few years earlier, when everyone was going to pastels. And then you have Miami Sound Machine. It was very cool back then, late 80s, something like that. Everyone was going with the pastels, and it just it wasn't a trend that that trend lasted for about as long as the avocado green lasted in the early 70s, or the burnt orange.
5 to 10 years, to be fair.
Yeah, but remember that period of time? In this, I think it was in the 70s. You had the burnt orange.
You raked the carpet.
You raked, that's
carpet.
Right.
You raked the carpet. You had an avocado green stove, and and refrigerator.
It's just like, if anyone wants to watch on television what we're talking about, just go to one of the Brady Bunch reruns, and you look at the Brady Bunch house, and you're like, they really lived that life, huh? Yes, we did. Anyway, that's my 2 cents for the day.
But estate sales and these houses that haven't had anything done to them, it is an opportunity for a buyer to pick them up for a bit of a discount. Because again, the money I'm talking about putting into it, the buyer could turn around and do as well, right? So you could, get yourself a nice fresh paint job, and obviously you're the buyer. You're probably going to do a little better job than the seller, because you're going to use flat paint or matte paint for the walls, and maybe some kind of enamel for the trim and the doors, and you'll do a better job, right? Because it's your house that you're going to be living in, as opposed to someone else just getting ready to sell it. But and that allows you to stay in control of the process. And this house that I'm going to be putting on the market, it actually you could move into it. I believe that the appliances probably all work,
Right.
even though they're a bit dated. I believe that the family's going to have the home clean. I've got a great crew, Magic Hands. They clean my own home regularly, and I have them clean my clients' houses. And when they get ready for market or when they're moving out, and they do a great job. They're not as cheap as you want them to be, but they do a really good job. You can count on them. And,
Right.
this is a Rambler. They can probably also clean the windows. They might not do the same job that Tim would do with a Perfect Pain, but they'll still do a good job. And so that might be one way I at least can get the windows cleaned for this one.
Right.
So,
Right.
so it'll be clean. It will need paint on the outside, but that's, again, it's a Rambler, so buyers can paint the exterior. You can reach everything very easily.
And
So,
Ramblers are kind of at a premium, aren't they?
yeah, and it's got brick on the front. I mean, it's
Wow.
neat. It's in a neat neighborhood. It's a neat quality construction, really fairly nice quality.
Where's this at again?
It's a shame to sell it in the condition that we're going to be selling it in, but
A crying shame, I would say.
well, like I said, it makes me sad because I like to think that mom could get more money,
Yeah.
from the sale. But it also, it's also time, right? You got to figure out how you're going to come up with the cash, and you have to reimburse the person that comes up with the cash. It's a hassle for the family.
Yeah.
So I get it. I'll sell it as is. It's my job,
That's right.
Every once in a while, I have a feeling about things, and that was just one of those moments where I was like, but I do understand the whole, concept of, selling a house as is for an estate sale or something like that. So.
Right. Right. Well, Kat, what do you think?
Yeah. Are you done, Dan?
I'm done.
Are you done?
I'm done.
I know we didn't do the other counties.
You want to go? You want to run through the other counties?
Quick? I know. I kind of got peaked there. I think my blood sugar kind of hit a new low or something.
Well, we're on the rebound. We're doing better now.
We are. So we can run through these really quick. Okay, we got Mason County. Mason County, 1.8 months supply of inventory. 90 active listings on the market right now. So again, a county with a lesser population, so not very many listings actively on the market. 15% of sellers set offer review dates in Mason County. 17% of sellers got under contract within the first 7 days on the market if they listed their home between February 4th and February 10th. And what do we got? 44% of sellers in Mason County got under contract within the first 14 days on the market if they listed between January 21st and February 3rd. So the second week in Mason County is proving to be quite fruitful. So 44% is a good number for Mason County for this time of year. So not bad.
Yeah, really good.
Skagit County, 1.4 months supply of inventory. 103 listings are on the market currently. 11% of sellers in Skagit County set offer review dates. So not feeling very confident, about their market. And really Skagit has been fairly consistently pretty good. Especially this week. 56% of sellers in Skagit County got under contract within the first 7 days on the market if they listed between February 4th and February 10th. And 50% of sellers in Skagit County got under contract within the first 14 days on the market if they listed between January 21st and February 3rd. So Skagit County, the 7-day-old data, 7 to 14-day-old data, 56% of sellers getting under contract within the first 7 days on the market. That's really strong.
That's really strong, yeah.
For Skagit more. Yeah, so, and then Kitsap's down to 1 month supply of inventory. 177 homes actively on the market right now. 20% of sellers set offer review dates. 34% of sellers got under contract within the first 7 days on the market if they listed between February 4th and February 10th. And And a whopping 57% of sellers got under contract within the first 14 days on the market if they listed between January 21st and February 3rd. So that's that second week. And Kitsap County, also very strong numbers. Kitsap County market is picking up.
It looks like, I mean, it does look very strong. I mean, it looks like it's getting stronger. I'll put it that way. It is getting stronger.
Yeah,
you can start to see things that weren't, you can see little things that weren't there maybe a month and a half ago, like the number of offer review dates, I think, is ticking up quite a bit in Kitsap, if I remember correctly. And anyway, it just looks like things are definitely strengthening there as well.
Yeah. And I did pull data for Thurston, and Thurston County, that's where Olympia is. Thurston County has sort of similar numbers as to Kitsap. So very, very, very similar. And I also pulled it for Clallam County. And Clallam County, they've got about half their homes getting under contract within the first, 7 to 14 days. So they're, again, a county that's where Port Angeles is. So that county you would think might not be picking up this time of year, but it actually is. They had 11 new listings come on the market last week, 0 to 7 days, and they had 11 go under contract. So not the same listings, but just the number that were new on the market versus the ones that actually went pending out of the same pool, right? Not the same pool, but so on the total listings on the market, 11 went pending during that 1 week.
Oh, and that was where
that was Clallam. That's Port Angeles. So what that shows is that you got as many listings that are going off the market as are coming on the market, and that's an interesting dynamic, right? Because that looks like your inventory is not getting chewed up quite, but it's definitely being absorbed.
Right.
Very quickly.
Well, I mean, that's a pretty. I mean, the whole area, obviously, Western Washington, it's heating up, and I don't think there's any question about it.
Nope.
All of the word on the street that we're getting back from realtors is confirming everything that we're getting from the numbers, and it just seems irrefutable, if you will. It's a tight market, and there's no question about it. So. Anything else?
Our whole word on the street segment, right, Dan?
Our whole word on the street. Yes, a lot of thought went into that segment. A lot of how long did it take me? I was thinking about that one for about 3 or 4 seconds on a phone call that we were having. Oh, word on the street. That's a good one.
That is. I like that title, Dan. That's Dan's idea. I like it. Yep.
I'm just joking.
So people are getting the behind the scenes negotiating, real live negotiations in Western Washington over the past couple of days. Yes. So that's what we put out earlier in our word on the street segment.
And that's right. Well, the thing is, if you're out buying a house right now, you want to know what's going on.
You do.
What's really going on right now? Because a lot of times folks, they come in, they don't really know what's going on. And
it's hard to know what to expect as a buyer.
It is. And that's sort of what we're trying to do for folks as a benefit, as a service, is just say, hey, this is the reality of what markets are doing right now. And, if things start softening, that's what we'll report. If things start getting tighter, that's what we'll report. But we just want to bring you the facts on the ground.
That's the thing, because there's so much misinformation out there. You read one article in the Seattle Times and they've got you believing that the housing market is less this year than it was last year. And that's just flat out not true. And it's, I can go toe to toe with the reporter. I should probably look that person up. I want to beat him up. But because there's misinformation out there and misleading information out there, I want people to know what's actually going on in the real estate market. The real estate market is not tanking.
Right. That's
I read all the time. I see all the YouTube videos. Why the real estate market is going to collapse in 2024? I don't see it, guys. I don't.
Not here.
But it's not happening yet. As a matter of fact, it's getting fast and furious. Housing prices are skyrocketing. I can use the word now. They're skyrocketing.
They are.
Mark my words. I'll check the sold data this next week, and it will be much more dramatic than it was this last 0 to 30 days. It's the real estate market's on fire, and not because we want it to be. It's a function of supply and demand, guys. That's flat out what it is. There's more buyers than sellers. And so it just creates it. It's a normal free market end result of more demand from buyers.
And there's not much supply
from sellers. I mean, it's a free market. It's capitalism at its best. You know, more people want the carrot goes up in price.
That's right.
And right now, the carrot is the house. There's a lot of people wanting houses in Western Washington. And so the price of housing is skyrocketing right now as we speak. And if interest rates go down, that's going to only get worse.
Yeah, that's right.
And you can take that one to the bank.
Mark our words on this. We'll go back and revisit
that one. That's pretty solid.
We'll revisit this here in a month and see how close we were. I bet you we're very close. I bet you we'll be spot on. Yeah. Anyways, I think that does it for this week.
Yes. Thank you guys for joining. If you have any questions, any last second real estate questions, TikTokers, shoot them over to me really quick. Hi, Christina. Hi, Detective Krupke. Hi. Oh, somebody said hi, Kat and Dan. Oh, I missed them. Who was that?
Oh.
Maybe that was Amanda. Hi, Amanda. I wasn't close enough to my phone. I'm going back through. Oh, yeah, a lot of people joined today. Hey, anybody got any questions? I'd love to address a question before I go. Anyway, Dan and we've shared our hearts out regarding real estate and lending today. Haven't we, Dan? We actually sent me into a blood sugar spin. I had to take a break and go grab myself a tortilla with some cheese on it. I needed a carb.
Carb break.
I realized I hadn't eaten any carbs today. You know, sometimes I just eat protein to kind of nurse me along, and then I forget to have the carb. I gotta have a carb once in a while.
Well, anyway. If you're looking for carbs, I've got some recommendations for you. So.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
What are you thinking, Dan?
Reese's peanut butter cups, plenty of carbs in it. None of them are good for you, but it's very delicious.
Not my style. I can't do candy. I don't like candy.
How about Hostess?
I'm not a sweet person.
How about ding dongs? Hostess ding dongs. They're delicious.
I like Twinkies. Twinkies are my soft spot.
There you go.
I know they will last 50 years, you know, and not spoil. I still like them.
That's a selling point.
It is a selling point. Because then you can buy them and you can just leave them in your cupboard for 3 years.
You put them down in the fallout shelter and be good for life.
The fallout shelter. You don't have a fallout shelter, Dan. Do you have a fallout shelter? This is where Dan digresses on occasion.
Yes, that's right.
And I wonder how that brain works back there.
It's a mystery. It's a mystery to all of us. Finally honed over years and years of neglect.
Finally honed. Well, I got to tell you, Dan, I think my slight break in major real estate activity, because I've had, you know, things have been a little bit less.
It's over.
Frantic.
That break is over.
Yeah, it was a little less frantic. Like, I think since like Thanksgiving, things kind of slowed down a little bit. I had weekends available sometimes. It was very weird. And, but all of a sudden calls started coming in today, and I'm like, uh-oh, I see it coming. My daughter and I have that listing coming on Puyallup in about 2 weeks. Got a listing coming on in April. And then I've got another one probably coming on in May. And then there's the big project, which we won't divulge yet. And that could be a lot of work.
And that big project, It may come along in May. It may come along in August. It may come along next November. We shall
Good.
see.
And then I've
You
got
never know.
buyers. I've got my different sets of buyers that we've been waiting for the right houses to come on the market. And you guys know who you are. More than one set. So I have had business. It just there hasn't been the right enough inventory to find the right houses for some of my specific buyers.
Yeah.
So
You know,
unfortunately, the market is now going up, and so that makes everybody queasy.
yeah.
So.
Well, and it's a tough, it's a tough spot to be in. It's wonderful to sell a house at the peak of the market.
It's fun for sellers in it to a degree. I mean, you still need to get your house very ready for the market, but it's
Right.
kind of fun to get all the offers and be able to compare the offers and say, gosh, I can't believe somebody's willing to pay me $150,000 over asking price for my house, because that's just gravy. That's
Right.
over and above what you and your agent decided you should list it for. And it feels good at the moment. If you don't have to turn around and go buy something in the same market, then you can put that money in your pocket. Right. But if you, if you do need to turn around and buy something now, you're going to be, shelling that same little chunk of cash out and that's going to be your fee to buy into the market. Right.
Yeah, that's right.
So,
That's right.
All right, guys, we're going to sign off. Bye, TikTokers. Love you guys. See you next Monday. By the way, next Monday, 4 o'clock. So we're going to be on regular schedule, Stats by Kat and Dan. And then also we're going to do, what's that other segment called? Can never remember.
I think we're going to try Word on the Street. Yes, that's right. Word on the Street. And we may even have an investment property next week to analyze. Yes. We'll see.
Yep. I couldn't find a good one this week. I thought I saw one go past my rolls, but I couldn't find it today really quickly. So I wanted to get the latest stats out.
They're all getting snapped up. All the good properties are getting snapped up right now.
Every time I do one, they're gone. So they go pending immediately. I haven't looked to see if Marion's off the market yet, but that one looked pretty good. That one's over in Bremerton, I think. I haven't looked to see if that one's gone yet.
I have to check that one on Viking. Remember that one on Viking, the 4 units?
That's gone.
That's off.
That's 4 little cabins. And that one I really liked because they all had washer dryers and they were all just little individual cabins right there in Poolsville. I mean, great little spot.
Yep.
Yeah, no, that was a fun one to run.
Yeah, it was.
Okay, bye, TikTokers. See you in a week. I just wanted to throw out that we'll be on next Monday at 4.
Every week at 4 now. All right, I'll hit the end stream. Goodbye, Facebook and